Hello everybody, this is Connor, and this is my RuneScape Leagues 4 sort of summary aftermath video. I did participate in Leagues 4. I took clips, most of the league, especially early on, and I'm just going to edit them together into one big video, mostly for my own sake, just so I can watch this back later and sort of be reminded about all the fun I had. So I was involved in the login snafu on the first day, so I actually wasn't able to play on my PC for the first several hours, which is why the clips kind of immediately start here at the Varrock Museum. But I'd already been playing for a little while on mobile. I was able to get in on that client. So been doing that a little bit, just getting some of the early stuff out of the way. I actually had made a plan of my own prior to the league. I think everyone like seriously dedicated to leagues was looking up different guides about how to get started and looking at the task list as it leaked. But I made my own like 81 step guide, very thorough, go here, pick up these, etc. And that's actually sort of one of my favorite parts of Leagues, one of my favorite parts of RuneScape in general, is making those guides. So you can see here, I've kind of nested all of these close together tasks such that I'm able to do them in quick, efficient paths. I even got lucky here with the crop circle at the Brimhaven field. So at the point of this video starting, we were already on like step 18 of about 80. But honestly, once you get boots on the ground in the league, things are just going to change. I had plans about what items I'd be getting or what sort of longer grinds I'd be getting engaged in early on. And a lot of those got replaced by other easy tasks along the way, or once I unlocked my new areas and relics, that sort of sped up some things. But I had a guide, and that really helped me feel productive on the first day because this was a classic. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so woke up real early, was all excited and ready to play in the league, looking at the leaked relics, all the leaked tasks, making my plan even a little bit better before the league officially started. But as far as these little early tasks, I don't think require much explanation about what's going on. I'm just trying to get as many points as quickly as possible. I definitely prioritized easy 40-point tasks, kind of the medium difficulty, like this one, filling a crate with bananas. When I was making my plan, I really focused on those because, one task being 4 times as many points as the easy tasks typically did not take 4 times as long. Even if it took twice as long or something, that's still hyper efficient. So you see I've already unlocked my second relic, and I did take Globetrotter. I know that for many people, this decision was like, obviously Fairy's Flight. Like, teleporting to Tool Leprechauns is so cool and unique and interesting. I will say, I don't think there's a huge difference between these two. Like, frankly, I think both Globetrotter and Fairy's Flight were similar in how much total time they saved you. It was kind of just personal preference, and based on the areas that I was taking, I thought that Globetrotter would be a better fit. Also, the teleports on it are already optimized for play strategies, so there is something to be said for Fairy's Flight giving you access to like new tech that would never be possible in the main game, but that just isn't as appealing to me, I suppose. There's already going to be so much newness and wildness in the game. Um, Reset old man tasks a couple times to get this easy letter delivery one. So little tricks like that already built into the route. And anyway, my overall impression of the league while these early tasks are playing in the background, overall impression is a very good league. I think it's probably my third favorite. I actually think I had more fun with both Twisted League and the original Trailblazer. I think the original Trailblazer was the best league experience for me, at least so far. I played in all 4 leagues so far. I got Dragon Rank in both Twisted and Trailblazer. Shattered Relics I actually did not enjoy, and so relatively early on I just stopped playing. I was also going through some personal stuff at the time, but I think even if I hadn't been, here you see I'm unlocking Zaya. Zaya was my first area unlock, and then next up is going to be Desert. I probably should have started with Desert for the gem stalls there, since I have Production Prodigy and crafting was a big part of my plan. But live and learn. So I immediately went to Zaya. I got some easy tasks done. Now, I thought Shattered Relics was kind of a failure of a league, and I think the fact that they immediately rebooted Trailblazer kind of shows that Jagex understood that as well. There was the day one horror of the potato field tree there for a second. I did not manage to get that cut on day one. That was a day two thing. But yeah, all these clips so far, I hope it's clear, are also still day one. Still just running through stuff as quickly as possible. And here I actually got my third relic, which I took Fire Sale. I know this is contentious. I think Banker's Note is ultimately more powerful, but Fire Sale is just kind of like silly and fun and gives you an early game boost. And one of the challenges that I knew that I'd be up against in this league is that I just don't have as much playtime as I used to. I'm very busy these days, and so I didn't have the super long stretches to devote to the league, so I was really focused on optimizing the time that I could spend with it. And so I think Fire Sale does give you a lot of very fast points. Things like, Banker's Note letting you basically never AFK, like always be crafting as you're running around or whatever. Things like that, because I had Production Prodigy specifically, and because I had the regions that I pick, I don't think would have saved as much time total as Fire Sale did. But anyway, more of my general league thoughts. I thought Shattered Relics, because it had no uniqueness, because every player was incentivized to follow the exact same path, and I mean, frankly, because the pay to unlock skills at bosses system was kind of a hack job. Like, I think everyone playing seriously had everything unlocked within a few days, like literally 2 or 3, and then, people were paying to unlock whole quest lines. Like, the renown system in general, I think, was tremendously underutilized. And I think part of that is just because players whined. Like, there was the whole rebalance a few days in because people were like having to play for a few hours to unlock a skill, and that made them angry or whatever. I honestly don't get the feedback. Like, I was pretty conservative with my point spending and still managed to unlock all the skills and pay through a bunch of quests and stuff. But anyway, that's a whole different video topic. But to stay more positive, the League 4 coming back to Trailblazer was nice, and I actually picked 3 regions I did not pick the first time, so this is all totally new regional content to me, which was kind of nice. I also learned a lot from this league. Like, going into this league, I had a few goals. My idea was I want to get Dragon, and because it's a static threshold now, even with my less time available, I thought I could do it. There's Panford Uncut Jade, another easy 40-pointer. Made sure to route that one in. Hopefully, just by watching these clips, it's clear that, like, my route is very focused on movement around the game, like doing everything you can in one area before moving on, which, given how quickly I was able to unlock the Globetrotter pendant, might actually not have been wise. Like, in my routing, I did not account for having this super teleport item so early on, so even though I was able to make some adjustments day of and still save some time, I probably could have been much more intentional with that. And here's me completing Gertrude's Cat to get kittens on the first day. I thought that raising kittens would be more significant, but obviously Fire Sale just completely removes the need for money from sailing the death runes. Anyway, so I picked whole new regions for this, and because I had some simple goals. Basically, I've always been more drawn to skilling in RuneScape. I don't especially like Slayer. I think the combat in general is fine. Like, some of the new content that the devs are putting out that really does stress high-level skills is pretty good content, and like does require precision and skill and game knowledge and things like that I typically value. But the experience that I get out of RuneScape especially is a little more laid back. It's a little more relaxed. It's a little more AFK. I want to be playing optimally, but I don't really want to have a high level of engagement with the game moment to moment. And under those confines, I actually find a lot of high level PVM kind of frustrating, because there is significant imprecision in the game. It's kind of a janky game. The whole, the reason that I have a true tile marker on is that where your character is visually is not where your character is. And like things like that kind of undercut, in my opinion, the overall expertise and skill and experience of being like a high level RuneScape player. Not that it makes it easy. Oh, and obviously here's the incredible Fire Sale Toggle route where I just like buying an Onyx and an Obsidian Cape day one, like no big deal. And not even day one, but I think this is still like before noon my time. So I've always thought of myself more of a skiller, less of a PVMer, and so I wanted to kind of flip that on its head in this league. The regions that I chose to unlock were Zaya, Desert, and Taranwin, because all of them have high-level content. I figured, I could learn how to do Chambers of Xeric, I could learn Tomb of Amasket, I could learn the Inferno, and then Taronwyn with the Gauntlet and Zulrah and other content that I've just never done in the main game. I was hoping that all of this would be fun and engaging content for me. It would be content that, I'm probably never going to have a normal game account that has stats and gear capable of doing that stuff. So it'd be fun to just do it in the leagues and explore what that high-level PVM feels like. And ultimately, what I discovered from this league, here I am taking Archer's Embrace. One of my goals was to get a Twisted Bow. I'll leave it in suspense whether or not I accomplish that. But ultimately, what I discovered was that even when I was able to do raids, when I was well geared, when I had everything I needed, I didn't want to. Like, I did not sit down at my computer and think, wow, it's going to be so fun to go through this raid today. I was mostly just kind of overwhelmed by it, and not just in the sense of, like, there's a lot to learn, because, I was able to pick up most of the mechanics and everything. That's not a big deal. It was more just like, I have to be really attentive for a long time doing kind of mediocre gameplay experience. Like, the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is less fun than more modern designs, I would say. So... Oh, and here is 99 cooking. One of my first kind of crazy accomplishments. I realized, like, hey, I have Fire Sale, and you can see in the chat there, I was the 10th person to get 99 cooking, so doing pretty well. Still on day one. I think at this point it might have been like 1 p.m. or something. But 99 cooking just knocked out immediately. Figured it'd be a good way to get some early points up, and that was definitely not in my plan, so I sort of paused my giant list in order to get at that. And then once I had 99 cooking and unlocked all of these cooking tasks, that I was able to do for some more relatively easy points. But stepping back for a second, this is the kind of stuff I love. I love running back and forth between a range to cook 100 pies. And here I completed Garden of Death for the enormous farming experience drop, and I actually held off on unlocking the desert until completing that quest because the desert auto-completed it, so I would have missed out on the experience reward. So I'd actually had the desert like in my back pocket for a while prior to even completing that. So that's 2 areas unlocked, still day 1, in fact still like early afternoon, and I already have my first 99. The early days of this league just flew by, I will say, and that was kind of fun. I mean, having this rapid of progression is really good for me. Like, I actually would enjoy kind of a leagues-like experience that only lasted for 2 days or a week or something. That kind of like sprint or jam atmosphere is nice and is a little easier to schedule into my life personally. I know for some people it's nice to have the long period of time to spread shorter play sessions over, but... So, these activities, repetitive, lightweight, skilling things, are what primarily draws me to RuneScape. That is mostly what I enjoy. And so I entered this league with this mindset of completing raids, trying the Inferno, learning high-level PVM, acquiring these like prestigious high-level PVM items that I'd always heard about, and ultimately did not find much motivation to do those things. It ultimately was not what inspired me. It wasn't what I was drawn to in the game. Here I am, literally almost dying of poison after getting that gold bar. I took Treasure Seeker, obviously. Anyone who seriously wanted to complete clues, it's kind of an obvious path to take. And the other relics there, I don't think are strong competitors. So my choices so far, the 5 that I've taken, in retrospect, I do agree with. I think the Fire Sale Banker's Note one, given my personal playstyle and how much time I personally had to dedicate, that could go either way. But the other 4, Production Prodigy, Globetrotter, Archer's Embrace, Treasure Seeker, those I feel really good about. I think all of those were the right choice for me, at least. Here I am participating in another degenerate fire sale strategy, the building bagged plants in your home in order to level construction and farming in tandem. I did do that all the way to 99. here I am in between games at Winter Tot, jumping the gap to get a little extra agility experience. I did lots of this sort of stuff. Like whenever I was actually at my computer, even though I was just doing kind of, low intensity skilling, I would be really focused on making it optimal. And there's 99 fire making. Still day one. I think at this point it's like 8 p.m. or something. But I just decided that while I still had low hit points, it's like 3 mil an hour or something. Would it have been faster later? Absolutely. Was it still plenty quick this time? Yes. And here's some of my loot. I did not manage to get a full pyro kit during my first visit, but I came back for more later. This was just, getting some day one 99s to keep me motivated. And things like that are, to me at least, extremely fun. Like taking these super fast skills like cooking and fire making and just blazing through them was deeply satisfying and very motivating. And then now that I had the levels from Wintertot, I was able to go do like these wood cutting tasks, building the Waka canoe. I start leveling up some of my combat stats. You can just see that the levels flying up in the chat here. Now that I have my Archer's Relic, and also now that I don't need to have a low hit point level anymore. Here, I did cut the potato tree, so I guess this actually was still day one, but there's a second potato tree that wasn't as contentious. So, when given the opportunity to do high-level PVM, I tended to still err on the side of skilling. And I think that is a really meaningful learning for me because, I've had tons of RuneScape accounts that I've invested tons of time into. I have a UIM that's like 1,500 total or something, which, isn't a high level, but on a UIM it is something, and has like a couple of 99s and that sort of thing in the main game. Then, I've had various restricted accounts, various area locked accounts like guilds only. I have another account that I'm going to make one big summary video for because I've totally stopped playing it and will not be back. But I wanted to do kind of like an Extreme 1 chunk, but instead it's Extreme 1 dungeon at a time. But I found that these accounts I tend to get burned out on as soon as I get to combat content. Like as soon as I'm just training Slayer, as soon as I'm bossing, the things like that don't really motivate me in the game. And so I think this account is not the already hollow account that I played in the previous leagues with. It's already skill, because this is my UIM skiller in the main game. And I think the skiller playstyle is actually going to be a better match for me. And sure, I could just kind of self-select like a half skiller, like, just an account that it can do combat, but I just don't focus on combat. But I do enjoy the restriction and the prestige of having an account with certain restrictions placed upon it. I think it leads to much more creative gameplay, less of kind of a solved meta. It's why I enjoy UIM in general at all. And with, here's completing Demon Slayer, sort of an easy early combat achievement as well. Getting some of my early ranged and Slayer levels out. I wanted to make sure in this league to do combat early on, because the same, phenomenon that I've been talking about in Twisted League, for example, I played the first month of that 2-month league without doing any combat, because I kept telling myself I'm waiting for Wintertot, I'm waiting for Wintertot. If I have a higher woodcutting level, Wintertot will be more efficient, etc. And there was probably a part of that, but I think deep down I was just not in the mood to kill stuff, and so I wanted to avoid falling into that same point pitfall in this league, so I made sure to get right into Slayer and combat. Like, this is all still day one, I'm still banging out, as much as possible, getting early combat tasks done, getting some gear, so that whenever I do have to do combat-related activities, I don't put it off until later. I can just, dive into it, maybe a little under-geared, but still able to face it. And I think pretty soon it'll be the end of day one, but hopefully you can see it's just enormous progress made. I mean, the way this league was designed, how many tasks there are spread around, how they reward points, make it relatively easy, I think, to accomplish a lot in just a quick burst, especially if you have a plan, know the game well, that sort of thing. Down here, getting base 10 combats, defeating a wall beast, all sorts of accomplishments. And this isn't even, every task I completed. I missed a bunch of them. I would just turn the recorder on, off and on as I was playing. And the later clips are significantly more spaced out. These earlier clips are just, I was recording almost all of my playtime because I knew that, you know, it would be this whole quick hit of tasks making my way through these early stages, and then later it slows down quite a bit as you have a shorter task list to choose from, or doing like kill count based tasks, that sort of thing. So this account, already skill, is probably going to be the account that I play going forward. I think it has a restriction, it being a UIM and it being a skiller. That's motivating to me, and the content that the account expects me to do in the main game is content that I enjoy. You know, I can do collection log stuff, I can do repetitive skilling activities. There are opportunities in skilling to be really high focus and purposeful and all that, but there are also opportunities to just full AFK. And I'm trying to lean into that mindset a little more. Here's 1250 total still on day one, you know, multiple 99s you can see. Trying to lean more into opportunities. Here's the Wizard's Tower line. Just making sure that I captured that. It's such a like iconic Leagues moment. Oh, and here I'm making my birdhouses. Getting birdhouses running day one was also a goal of mine. It ended up not being sort of a huge deal. I got most of my hunter experience from other sources. Hunter's not a slow skill, but still having the birdhouses at all set up on day one was nice, and there were birdhouse related tasks. I think I prioritized this in early leagues, and so wanted to have at least some options here. But casting a blast spell on my way back, I've already got relatively high stats, at least by my opinion. And I think this was my last task, was completing Sleeping Giants. So I think I mouse over here and check on my rank 74 and 146 in league points. So, you know, not top page or anything. I'm not one of those people. And also I played 19 hours and 20 minutes, essentially nonstop. Yeah, no comments. Most of my days in the league were significantly healthier than that, I promise. But there's just something so satisfying about just dumping my all into the first day. And then, you know, this is picking up day two after a good sleep. I took some time chopping magic logs in the morning, and that allowed me to review the task list and focus in on what I wanted to get done. Because, you know, I'd already gone through most of my plan that I had coming into the league, and now I was able to go through and just note down everything that I thought could be done relatively quickly. Kind of the easy points laying on the ground, and this, I think, is the optimal way to attack leagues, is at first to like have an efficient plan, get a ton of stuff done, focus on getting your levels up, on getting access to at least mid-tier gear, you know, because once you have like a rune sword or whatever, you can do a ton of the combat the game expects of you. This is one of my favorite cutscenes in the entire game. It's like they didn't want to animate actual sculpting, so instead they just throw a rock at the statue. It's absurd. And a lot of this Zaya stuff is like legacy content now, because the whole favor system and the minecarts have changed and everything. But I'm scrolling around here showing that I'm actually doing clues on the second day. I'm just knocking out some easy clues that I had in my bank. I have this one master that I actually managed to complete. I decided to decline the mimic, but I did complete a master and get a unique from it, so that's satisfying. And I started focusing in a little more on desert tasks today. I did some yesterday, but Pyramid Plunder allowed me to unlock Taranwin. So now I have all three areas and my first 6 relics. You can see from the icon that I took Ruinous Powers, and I have mixed feelings about this. It is primarily a PVM relic, and as I've been saying, like, PVM is not what calls to me. Here's my first master task, equipping a Crystal Crown, which is kind of wild that it's just a free 400 points if you have Fire Sail and Taranwin. But I also was able to buy my full rune set here. Obviously, yesterday I bought and equipped all the different tiers of weapon, killing a dragon, completed like 3 tasks. I think the bones are another one too. Making my rune crossbow, equipping a rune crossbow. I had lots of tasks like this where I kind of already had access to the levels or the equipment that I needed or whatever. I just had to actually go around and do them. And this part of the game, this like checking off boxes, going around, collecting things, picking up weird items and finding efficient ways to teleport around and use them, all of that is my favorite part of Leagues, actually. I love the creativity and routing that the mode requires. because normal RuneScape, you kind of can just like show up and follow a guide and make it through. Like the game is designed to be approachable, and given how long everything takes, sort of in spite of that, the game is designed that anyone can sit down and figure it out and play it and read guides and do what the pros say and accomplish things. So having this kind of blank slate of the first few days of the league prior to people actually knowing what's efficient or knowing what they should do is, for me at least, extremely satisfying. Unfortunately, that does lead to moments like this, where I unlocked my 7th relic and I selected Soul Stealer. So obviously, Berserker is the relic of this league. Berserker, the first hit being always your max, was so much more powerful than I ever expected. Here I am literally paying for construction experience. I think this is faster than doing the bag plants, but and I did some construction experience with the money methods because I was getting some farming experience from other sources, so I just wanted to even the two out. I got some rune crafting done. This was the skill I did like none of day one because, it's rune crafting. But yeah, so I picked Soul Stealer, and Soul Stealer is good for my playstyle, where a lot of the time, here I am getting 75 prey points. A lot of the time, what I want to do is just sit back and chill. And so with Soul Stealer, you don't really need to pay attention. Like, healing off of bosses was huge. Prayer recovery during every Slayer task let me just camp my offensive Ruinous Powers prayers and then, easily walk away from my computer or play on mobile or something. Here I am filling a stash unit. These are always kind of interesting tasks because there's so many stashes that figuring out which easy one you can fill, easy as in simple, not easy as in the tier of clue. Filling out which stash is easiest to fill is kind of a fun challenge. And it's things like that I'm really looking for in the league, right? This opportunity to say, okay, I have to fill any hard stash unit. What is every hard stash that I can reach? What items go in them? How can I most easily acquire these items? Finally got a Amulet of Chemistry proc on one of these strength potions. And here I am just wrapping up other little small tasks, I got my second Tears of Guthix here, so apparently this is a week in now. And this sort of jump that, clearly my account has not progressed very far, but it's a full weekend, that is representative of how much I was able to play. Like, I think actually the game, or the league launched like a Wednesday, so I played Wednesday, Thursday, and then like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I was spending time with friends, I was hosting people that weekend, went to a Renaissance festival, very fun. So I didn't really have the sort of playtime that many of the like true top players have, where they're fully dedicated to the game. I was living my life while I was playing, and so when I had, a free afternoon or weekend or whatever, I'd put in some serious grind and try and get as much progress as possible. But I also had to be realistic with the amount of time that I could spend, and so there were some goals that I just discounted right away. My first Superior Slayer monster down one of these thick blood velds. I was making a point a little while back that I've forgotten, but so Soul Stealer was a good match for my playstyle, not as good of a relic as Berserker. And I think even with my straight up laid back playstyle, Berserker would have been a superior choice. I'm not like furious about this. I'm not super upset, but I do think that it impacted my experience of watching League's content, because basically everyone at the, and here's me getting the Crystal Grail as my tier 8 relic unlock. This took me a little bit longer than I was expecting. They did a good job, I think, making the 8th relic just way out there, and it actually taking you a legitimate time to get. But I took the, I forget what it's called, the Second Chance relic, Undying Retribution, I think. So when they spoiled Undying Retribution, when they spoiled it in the previews running up to the league, I was not impressed. I basically thought, oh, here's a stats run through so far. So to get us caught up, I have like all combat 99s, construction and farming done. Looks like some of my gathering skills, mostly crafting. Crafting and fletching are both up there already. Here's room 8 of Pyramid Plunder, still steadily climbing up in thieving. I did a lot of Pyramid Plunder this league, actually, and thieving had a bunch of tasks locked behind it, which is I think why Trickster was so appealing to people, and gave people kind of an early boost. But I don't ultimately, I did not miss not having Trickster. I think the thieving part of it was fine, but and this task was bugged that if you were wearing Boots of Brimstone in Mount Karum, you would not complete the task. So that was why I was taking damage there the whole time. But here I am wrapping up some diaries. What I was saying was that I know a lot of people sort of meme on like Trickster being the superior choice, and I think it did provide more of an early game benefit. But I think the only part that would have really appealed to me was the Sage's Greaves, the like free agility experience aspect of it, because agility was within my area as a very difficult skill. And you probably saw me put those. Oh, wait, here we're doing a stat check. Let's see, I've fallen into the tens of thousands. Representative of how I did in general. Yeah, but still within the top, what is that, 8,000? Yeah. Here's my first Jad kill, I think. So, Trickster allowed for an early boost, but agility was really the only skill that I was struggling to train within my areas. Agility and mining were both just super slow. I should have been putting those diary lamps into one of those too, but I was still kind of in the UIM mindset of Herblore is most difficult. So there I defeated Jad, I got the Fight Cape speedrun and all that. Did a Kingdom Divided so I could have Thralls, because I realized I'd been missing out on that this whole time. Doing some of these in-game quests was kind of fun, although in general they auto-complete, since they're spread about in a bunch of regions. But got a Dragon Pickaxe, one of my Calphite Queen kills, another one a little bit later. I did not enjoy Calphite Queen. Oh, and here's a picture from mobile of me meeting Ditterbitter. When I say meeting, I mean he was at the same forestry tree. We didn't speak or anything. Lava Battlestaff. I have enjoyed in leagues running into high-level players. Or I guess when I say high-level, I should mean like community names. I saw Settled hunting for an Abyssal Whip in the previous league. I ran into Verf at one point. I ran into... now I feel bad because I'm forgetting his name. I used to watch his videos all the time, but then he stopped making them. But he had a Fossil Island only UIM. Short name, like 4 letters, I think. Anyway, ran into him in Twisted League. Here I am going through my Herblore supplies, getting all these potion tasks knocked out of the way. Did some Temporos, got 2,200 total, and also got the big harpoon fish for another RNG task completion. Here is a Cold One, another, somewhat notable player that I ran into. And with my combat achievement point stimulus, I logged in to get those. Completed full anglers, which obviously I should have done before any of my fishing training, but, whatever. I always end up back on Mulch Island. I don't hate it. I don't hate the content. Then here we have 50 Temporos completed, and back to do a little bit more of this. I actually, while a friend was staying with me, a friend of mine, not the player, a friend, I handed him my phone and was like, hey, can you just, tap on these spots and then tap on the fish in the inventory to drop them? And while he was doing that, he got the Golden Tench, just within, 5 minutes of him playing that while I was doing some chores and stuff. And I kind of just set him up playing as a meme, so that was kind of a fun treat. I did all the Volcanic Mine stuff. This was very easy points laying on the table. Fossil Island in general had a bunch of easy tasks that I was wrapping up through here. And then I got back to some skilling. I mean, with the teleports that you have access to, with the stackable clue scroll boxes, I personally found clue scrolls extremely fun. It's kind of nice to just knock them out so quickly. I completed a full God Rune set. I think that's Bandos armor. And then also a full God Vestment set. Did not get a full gilded set, of course, but I did get a few super rares. We'll see those coming up. So, from these clips so far, you can probably tell I'm not doing a lot of PVM. And at this point, I have maxed melee as maxed combat stats, all this, the opportunity is in front of me. I certainly could be running bad gear raids right now. But I just didn't have the interest in it, didn't have the motivation. I think that speaks to how I'm going to think about RuneScape going forward. Oh, and here's my first Mega Rare. Got a Third Age range coif. Not exactly a hyper prestigious item, but it's my first Third Age ever, and it is kind of fun, and it's also nice because I am a ranger. So getting that was a nice match. Got the Drake's Claw. Never killed another Drake after that. Made those boots for 80 points. Slayed my first Abyssal Demon, and then after this went to Sire. And I think this might be my first Sire kill, or maybe my 50th or something. I forget all what I recorded to... Yeah, there we go, 50 clips. So I had bad luck at Sire. Didn't get, I think, any unsireds in my first 50, but I was doing basically every Slayer task that had some unique or rewarding drop. And I did every task that had superiors. Here I'm getting a Dust Battle Staff from one such superior. But yeah, I think my Slayer strategy was to basically skip anything that I wasn't going to directly get points from. Like, even if it was a fast task, didn't especially care. Here's 99 Slayer slaying Lizardmen Shamans, trying to get that Dragon Warhammer. I'll leave it up in suspense if I ever did, but 500 collection log slots at Guardians of the Rift. This is my first time playing Guardians of the Rift. There's Good Luck I'm Tom, or GL I'm Tom, I should say. Another YouTuber encountered in the wild. Turning in 100 tickets, completing the Elite Karamja Diary, and also the Elite Corindon Kevos Diary. So I'm wrapping up some other high-level content here, and you may notice still no PVM. Still, I mean, not no PVM, but, I'm not doing bossing or raiding or anything, just an occasional Abyssal Sire or that sort of thing. There's a good view of my stats. Wrapping up little tasks like this, like making 100 wines that I had just not gotten to before. Every few days I would try and go through the task list using the wiki's filter so that it would automatically hide all the ones that I'd already completed. And I would always find some easy tasks like that I had every resource I needed for and just needed to actually sit down and do. There's 50 rifts closed and almost 13 million runecrafting experience. I just went and got the last at the nature altar, since I had a nature talisman and just wanted to grind it out. There's 99 runecrafting, one of the skills that Banker's Note would have been most helpful for. 99 mining shortly thereafter while doing the mine 50 adamant ore. I think I'd mined like 40 and then I got level 99, so I timed that pretty well. Got my Eternal Gem here. That was good for some points. Never did get an Imbued Heart, but that's okay. 50 Superior Slayer monsters. And I did get the Ickle Hydra, which is one of the 2 pets that I got this league. And my previous league's account only ever had the Phoenix. Played in 2.5 leagues and never got a second pet. Here I am forgetting to pray because I'm so impressed with my Ickle Hydra. I actually really like the Hydra pet, so getting it that early and being that lucky with it was really, really nice, because now I can have that in future leagues. Got the full set of Pyromancer's Garb here at 43 Wintertot kill count. Not the last Wintertot I'll do, but I did just go and burn some logs for 25 million. Just, getting some easy points. And here I am in the Gauntlet. I did my first Corrupted Gauntlet. Certainly not my last, because I did get a Crystal Weapon Seed. Yeah, very lucky. A Crystal Armor Seed? Maybe it was both, I forget. The clips are all running together. But I did a bunch of Gauntlet. Gauntlet was probably the PVM that I spent the most time on, because I kept telling myself, there's really no point in doing raids until I do Gauntlet. And it's there's really no point in doing Gauntlet until I have it. And, eventually I had to talk myself into learning the content, sitting down. And I think I spent like a week or a week and a half doing this. I did not have a ton of playtime, and it's also not super fast content, even with the relics and everything. It takes a bit, and I got a little unlucky. But I did end up, of course, grinding this out, getting everything that I need. You'll see that soon. No spoilers. I actually had some trouble getting all the crystal shards I needed, because I wanted both weapons, corrupted, the full armor, etc. So what I ended up doing was I spent a lot of the later half of the league running around high-alking dragon halberds. I think that was the highest value item that I could get for free with Fire Sale. So I just high-alked a ton of dragon halberds and then used that money to buy a ton of crystal shields, broke them down into seeds and then sold them for shards. So, but yeah, there is the Blade of Saildor enhanced. It's a nice weapon to have. Base level 95, getting 95 agility, doing laps here. There was a task for 250 rooftop laps, so I just went for that. And the clip of that will be a little later. But got a... Is that my second enhanced seed there? Yeah, so here's me farming up all of the crystal seeds from the shields. Truly a silly method, but this sort of stuff is what I enjoy about leagues. Whenever there's an opportunity like this to... I don't think most people are in mass selling those seeds back to the guy in the bar that buys them for I think 10 crystal shards each. Surely there are better ways to get crystal shards, but I think this might be my last gauntlet kill count. That's why I recorded it. Oh, no, this is... So getting 50 kill count gets you the achievements, and also it's an elite and master task, so it's, 600 points right there. There were a lot of points in Gauntlet. Tarawin was a good region for density of points, because it had a lot of points, and they were kind of in the same pieces of content. Yeah, here I am corrupting my blade, which is pretty cool mechanic, I must say. And this is the kind of thing that I'm just never going to have in the main game, so it is fun to get it in leagues. I'm just missing my crystal body at this point. But the Corrupted Blade's another 400 points. So yeah, within Tarawin, if you just did kind of the main couple pieces of content, you would be getting all the points within the region. There's not that much sort of weird extraneous side stuff or additional bosses or whatnot. 100 arena agility tickets turned in to get 97. The rest of it I got on the Tarawin course. But here's 99 herb lore, just wrapping up the last of my skills. I think I decided around this point that it was time to, get serious about... oh, here's corrupting my bow. Nice. I think around this point I decided it was time to get serious about maxing, because it was 6 weeks in the league or something, and I just had not wrapped up the last of my slow skills, which there is, a certain benefit to leaving them later so that all the little extraneous bits of experience you get could be spent more effectively. But there is 78 kill count, the Corrupted Gauntlet, and then I was able to get my last seed to make my crystal armor, and this gave me full purple crystal, which was an elite task. And that's kind of my look for the league. I ran around with the farming cape. Went and did some Zulrah now that I had full crystal. This is my first time learning Zulrah. I think I might have done 1 kill count in Shadow Relics. But got some speed tasks completed, got some of the drops, made the Tansfang into a blowpipe and put dragon darts in it. There's, like I was saying, there's a lot of tasks in Tarawin that very neatly fold into each other here, where it's crafting it, loading it with darts, and breaking it down are all 200 point tasks. There's just so many points in such a small amount of content. I actually dismantled a different Zulrah unique, of course, but plenty of Zulrah still to do. I think this is probably my kill count milestone. And I think I've kind of said my piece about skilling versus PVM, made my comments about this league in particular. I found that I was motivated early on in this league, but that as time went on, my motivation decreased, and obviously I was doing content that I enjoyed less. I was no longer doing these fun skilling methods, and was instead, oh yeah, there, I'm a Zulrah master. But I did show off some PVM tricks, here's completing the 5th challenge, and there's the 6th. I did 6 Jads. I was impressed with myself, honestly. I was not expecting it to be possible for me. Similarly, got some combat achievements from it. I actually found the 5 and 6 Jad challenges to be more fun than stressful. I think because they were so... oh yeah, here, okay, so I did some more agility arena to get 100 more tickets because I needed fletching time. Now I remember correctly. Because I was in general kind of strapped on, I needed alking time, I needed fletching time. I had just a few skills that I was trying to, or a few activities I was trying to dedicate during AFK time, but I, had no AFK because of the way that I was playing, where, you know, the only time that I had to devote to the game, I had to be very intentional and active. So at this point, you know, the league was kind of wrapping up, and I still hadn't quite achieved Dragon. I got the Ale of the Gods here, which is a cool item, but 25 Master Clues and 25 Master Slots in the same clue, as well as a piece of Gilded. So when I was at the computer, I had to be really intentional and focused in my play. So I didn't have a lot of time to just like sit around fletching, you know. So I had to pick what activities I would do in a way that allowed me to do some alking and some fletching. Alking to pay for all the crystal stuff. So at this point of the video, that's already passed, but it was a consideration earlier on. I'm showing off some of my clue logs, doing this hilarious fail all of your sword turn-ins using bronze plate bodies. Here's me getting 50 million crafting. The fast skills, getting the experience milestones, was a big point boost for me. And at this point, I'm less than 2,000 points away. Got 250 rooftop laps and 50 farming contracts playing on mobile. And with those rooftop laps out of the way, all the agility tickets we were seeing, etc., it was finally time for me to achieve 99 agility and 2277 total. It's my last 99. Slow skill. The Sage's Greaves would have been real nice. And of course I was fletching the whole time I was running around. I think in a minute here I do pause my fletching to show off my skill totals. And you can see that most of these skills are right at a threshold. They're either just a 99, or if I have been focusing them, maybe I got to 35 mil, 25, 50. All of those were really intentional decisions about how fast the skill was to train. Went back to Sire for a little while, started actually getting some unsireds, because I think my first 50 kill count I got 0. So then you get an unsired, offer it, and get an Abyssal Dagger, so that's pretty quick points. I think I've done more Sire than I ever would have expected, because I don't especially like the boss. It has a lot of waiting around. Like, I know some people legit fletch during Sire, and I wasn't quite that hardcore, but it definitely is a slow kill count, and I don't find the boss mechanics especially engaging, but, you know. But I did manage to get enough unsired to get a full bludgeon, and I already got the jar and the dagger as I showed, so really I had like perfect unsired luck once I was actually doing it. 150 kill count there is an elite combat task, and at this point I'm 50 points away. So I start going through my task list, looking for just one thing that I could go do that would wrap things up for me. You can see everything that I haven't completed here. There's plenty of like achievable, reasonable stuff, but also by this point of the league, the task list is getting kind of thin. It's mostly stuff I don't want to do. But I saw 10 Scotizo kill count. I knew I had the totems already, because I did a lot of Catacomb Slayer. So I think this is actually my last task prior to Dragon. You can see the Archer's Relic with the crystal bofa and everything popping off right there. And there's my Dragon trophy, successfully completed. Shortly thereafter, though, I didn't rest on my laurels. I went and got the Jad pet, just getting a few more points. Got 25 million Slayer experience shortly thereafter, and then, a little bit later, 75 Slayer encounters. All this, you can probably tell, is on mobile, like while hanging out with friends and stuff. But did a little bit of Sarachnis, getting the Cudgel. I think there was a kill count task that I did as well. I actually did get my Dragon Warhammer, just right here at the end, but you may have noticed no raid content on display. So I did do raids. I did 1 Chambers of Xeric and 1 Tombs of Amasket. The Chambers of Xeric I did with a real-life friend of mine who was nice enough to come along, and hated it. It was very complex and boring, and I don't know, it just did not click with me. It's not for me. There's 50 million fletching experience gotten at Wintertop. And I did 1 Tombs of Amasket where I did it solo, and I did pretty well, I think. Like, I got all the rooms, and I understood what I was doing and everything, but it just was not fun. Like, I think I've learned that, for me at least, the parts of the game that I enjoy are skilling, and so going forward, completed the fight caves 15 times. I think that was my very last task in the entire league. I never remembered to record, like, a bank video or something, but that's my Trailblazer Reloaded journey. Again, this video is mostly for me, but if you got this far, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.